Hello shooters, my name is James Towle, and this is Stop the Threat. On today's episode, we'll see a family targeted by mistake. A wrong address will end in violence. Coming up next on Stop the Threat. Let me ask you this question. How many homes are there in your neighborhood? 25, 50, 100 or more? According to some reports, 1 out of 5 homes will experience a home invasion. The statistics are shocking. There are 8,000 home invasions per day in North America. In most cases, these criminals have studied their victim. They know when you are home, they know what they want, and they know when you are the most vulnerable. A sudden knock on the door during dinner or while you're watching your favorite TV show is common. However, the violent ones know their craft well. They never wait outside in the chance that you may open your door. They can defeat a locked door with a kick just below the doorknob. Even a deadbolt can fail to keep them out. On today's episode, we'll take the most rare of home invasions, a mistaken address, not as uncommon as one might think. But it serves to point out how most of us can easily become a victim. This story is real, it happened, and it could happen to any of us. Shooters, let me introduce you to this week's panel. On my left, Rich Portwood, graduated from Illinois State Police Academy and now senior patrolman on the Jerseyville Police Department, as well as the firearms instructor. On my right, the world-known professional firearms trainer, Rob Pincus. He is also managing editor of the Personal Defense Network. And across from me, Kathy Jackson, editor of Concealed Carry Magazine, author of the best-selling book for women, The Cornered Cat, A Women's Guide to Concealed Carry. Okay, I have a reenactment for you. I think one of the fastest, and we can probably all agree upon this, one of the fastest growing crimes of the late past few years has been home invasion. I mean, 10 years ago, you didn't even think about home invasion. Now, certainly in big cities, we're seeing more and more of it. I don't know how well that's interpreted into some of the smaller towns, but certainly in the big cities. I want to show you this reenactment because I think this is a real reenactment. This did happen, viewers. Let's watch it.
Fun, huh?
Yeah, like the dentist.
Honey, come on, what are you doing?
Hold your horses.
That's it. That's the place right there.
Are you sure about that, man?
Don't second guess me, man. I know that's it. That's the place. Flip for you.
All right, all right.
Come in, come in. Ta-da!
Oh, how sweet. Chips, isn't she sweet, Dad?
Yeah, just like when you were a little kid.
Yeah, you wish.
Oh, it wasn't that long ago, you know?
You're still our baby.
Can we just get the show on the road?
This is it, man.
Are you sure?
I'm sure, all right?
Better be sure this time.
Let's get in there, let's do this, let's make it clean.
I think you upset her.
Well, it wasn't that long ago.
This is an area which you definitely
It's a little
want to
loud,
put
dear.
on your
Really?
agenda
I
for
don't think
coming
so.
to. If you're a shooter,
Go keep it on that point window, make sure no one's watching.
All right.
It's a little loud, dear.
below us now you can
I think
actually
so.
see the 1,000-yard range.
Everybody freeze. You two on the couch. Sit on your hands. You, don't move.
Listen, you can take everything, just don't hurt us.
You know, why don't you be quiet? Scoot over that way a little bit. Get away from your family. Scoot over. Stay right there. Don't move. You, get over there and watch those two. No funny business. Do not touch either one of them this time. You understand me?
Yes.
I'm not playing games with you. Find where he's got the stash spot. Make it quick. Let's get out of here. Let's make this quick and easy. Now, where is Henry?
Henry? Who's Henry?
Look, I'm gonna ask you one more time. Where is Henry?
Listen, I don't even know a Henry.
Don't hurt him!
Never figured out why everyone's always trying to be the hero. What do you think you're doing? What did I tell you? Get out of here! Get away from me! That's what I thought. Get outside. Where's Liz? Got everything?
Hold back, full boss.
Roll back.
Straight up good.
Car.
There you
Let's
go.
do that.
There you go.
Where are the car keys? Where are the keys to your car?
Dad,
All right.
I'll call 911. My phone's on the mantle. 911. We've just been robbed.
Okay, I'll tell you what, the very first thing I noticed was that we're dealing with amateurs.
There are three things that keep me in business: drugs, alcohol, and stupidity. Obviously, these guys are stupid. They don't even have the right house.
Right.
But I really like the fact that the homeowners didn't try to put up a fight. They were overwhelmed immediately. They didn't try to put up a fight and make the situation worse.
They went from there. Kathy, quickly.
Not sure that I agree with you about not putting up a fight, making the situation worse. I have a hard time picturing how much worse it could get once you are totally helpless and at the mercy of somebody who might not have any
Okay,
mercy.
hold that thought. We'll be right back, viewers, because Kathy's on to something right here. Okay, welcome back, viewers. Kathy, you're right on something here, and I want you to repeat that for us.
Well, what I said is it's always risky to put yourself at the mercy of somebody who might not have any mercy. And
Okay.
obviously, in this situation, there may not have been a whole lot that they could do, but I hate to have people walk away with the mindset that, oh, well, fighting back would make the situation worse.
Well, for me, the way I interpreted it was that they're overwhelmed. You have three guys coming into your house with guns, pointing them at you. No one's gotten hurt. Obviously the husband took a couple of blows, but no one got shot. Their lives weren't going to be ended at that point. The suspects got what they wanted, and they were leaving.
Right.
Yeah, I absolutely think that's the point. In this scenario, they didn't do anything wrong. Right, and that's whenever we see these reenactments, whenever we see students go through a scenario training event, what we're looking for is what can we learn from? What did they do wrong? What you did right is self-evident. It's self-evident that what they did was right because nobody got shot and the people left. But what they didn't do possibly was prepare. And I think that's the thing that you could have done.
That's where we're going
How could you
with this.
have prepared in the first place? I mean, something as simple as have a better door.
Yeah,
have a door that's
have
not
it
going to
locked.
pop open on the first kick. Have a door with a couple deadbolts, whatever, a reinforced steel door with a good steel frame. I mean, there are things you could do to prepare so that even just having this conversation, maybe somebody just watching that reenactment, now they're going to have that conversation with their family, and they're going to be better prepared.
Right. Yeah. If it was even a cheap door and it was locked, he might have had that one extra second. I mean, when somebody bangs on the door, okay, you're immediately going to be alarmed, and the next thought on your mind is, where's the gun?
One of the things we talk about is crime prevention through environmental design. You put some motion lights out there so that someone comes into your yard. If you are going to sit there in front of the TV, the window's off to your left, this is your attention, a light comes on in front of your house, that keys you to look. Plus, that light coming on might even have kept them from ever getting out of the car.
Yeah.
Good
Yeah,
point.
that's a
They
good
might have
point.
thought they were being caught right then out there in the front yard.
Right. And let's bear in mind that this was the wrong address. So these are really good, average, law-abiding citizens enjoying television at night together, kind of picking on one another, and all of a sudden the doors broke down. Now, I think it's a typical home invasion in respect that it can happen to anyone, anytime, and it could be by mistake.
Well, obviously, they're not high-risk people. I mean, whoever the target was, that wasn't them. You know, it's not like they were living the kind of lifestyle that made that more likely.
Exactly. Yeah, and that's what I was trying to point out, that even at that point, and that leads back to what you said, have some kind of a plan.
Have a talk about it.
Yeah,
know what's going to happen. Because let's say those people had stayed in the house, the home invaders had stayed. Now, you know, what do you tell someone? So this maybe goes back to your original point. Now you're at their mercy. What advice would you have for the mother and the daughter? Dad's knocked out in the kitchen. What do you say to that family?
I kind of think that at the moment that blows start happening, the rules have changed. That's what I think. I think that every person in that house needs to have a plan for what they're going to do, you know, whatever it might be. But I think the rules change once it goes hands-on like that.
Okay, change too.
Well, for instance, when they moved him from scene 1 to scene 2, that's because they knew that they would have more control in scene 2. You know, a lot of times we talk about, well, don't get into the car no matter what, because, you know, the bad guy's going to take you someplace and do something there that he can't do to you right here, right now. We tend to forget that scene 2 can actually be just a few steps away. It can actually be just the back room at the party. It can actually be somewhere right here, right now. I think he should have resisted being moved away from his family. You know, it's one thing to take 3 steps across the room, but it's quite another. It's quite another.
Yeah, but the guy does have a gun on you, telling you to move away. I mean, it's no time to argue if you don't have any. What are you going to do? You know, you got, well, okay, I guess I'm moving away, huh?
Yeah, I guess I'm kind of curious, what resistance should he offer at that point with 3 armed individuals in the home? I know you and I talked last night about being armed when you're at home. I know you mentioned that.
Yeah, if they break into Kathy's house, they're going to find her armed 24/7.
Yeah.
If they break into mine, I don't know if I'm going to have it on 24/7, but I'm going to know where it is.
Yeah. Do you think in a scenario like that, would you offer resistance, armed resistance, personally, in a situation like that?
It's a hard question.
It's a very hard call.
I'll tell you what, dogs are cheap. Okay? I'm a big fan of dogs. No. I don't care what size it is.
I don't know how cheap they are. But
well, okay. Cheap protection, I don't know how to explain that. But anyway, if you're sitting around watching the TV and those guys came up, the dog would probably have sensed it. I got a feeling, I know mine would have, and they would have started barking, alerted me to something is going on, and I would have taken the moment to at least look over. Hey, there's a car parked there. What's going on out there? You know, there's a lot of things you can do that don't require you to be a full graduate of Rob Pincus School. I mean, I don't mean that in a bad way.
The Rob Pincus School isn't armed 24/7. I think it's much more practical for the average American family to have a good-sized shepherd that you know doesn't trust strangers than it is to expect people to be armed in their house. And in this case, being armed in your house, they still burst in and had 3 guns pointed at you. You're not going to do anything with the gun on your hip at that moment, and you might escalate it just because, boom, there's another gun. Now the guy's more anxious than he was. It becomes
more dangerous as time goes on. Now, there's a lot of good alarm companies out there, and you know, I don't want to say anything about alarm companies. Not everybody can afford that, possibly, but there are good alarm companies to where when something does go wrong, I mean, if the door had been hit, it might have signaled something. Yeah, there's more to talk about. We'll be right back. Welcome back, shooters. Listen, Rob has just been discussing some of the things that he noticed on the home invasion. Go with it.
It comes back to the question. So if you're armed at home 24/7, most of the time, all the time, whatever it is, are you openly armed, or are you carrying concealed?
I carry concealed at home.
And I think that's an important point. I think a lot of people think, well, if I'm going to carry it home, they're picturing, you know, the AR strapped over their shoulder or the, you know, big gun on their hip or something, and that doesn't really help you in this scenario. You know, as I said, now the guy kicks the door and you're wearing a gun. Oh, this is the house, and you are the drug dealer, and you might be the guard, and you might get shot right off the bat. You know, I think that again, if you're going to be armed at home, you really need to think that through. It doesn't necessarily mean that you're, you know, standing point at the door.
Well, Rob,
Tell me a little bit about that, Kathy. I mean, give us an idea of how you stay armed at home.
It's real simple. When I get dressed in the morning, I get dressed one time, and I stay dressed until bedtime. I do not think about the firearm from the time I get dressed until the time I go to bed. It's as much, you know, you put a wallet in your pocket when you get dressed in the morning, right? Do you think about that wallet all day, every day? No, it's just part of your clothing.
So it's that comfortable.
It's that comfortable. If you can't find a holster that works for you all day long, you can keep looking. I mean, there are holsters out there that will work.
Okay.
Well,
you know, it's pretty much that simple.
Not to make a big deal out of a small point, but 24/7 is a bold statement, right?
I didn't say 24/7. He said 24/7.
I think eventually you're going to get caught off guard, right? And I know you're not claiming that, but I don't want to leave the impression that anybody thinks you're really going to be armed all the time. I mean, traveling internationally, you're getting on a plane, you're going out for drinks. You're not going to, you know, hopefully you're not carrying a gun when you're going to have a few drinks with the boys. There are situations where you're not going to be armed.
Yeah, but I think we're basically talking about being at home, and James and I have talked about an incident at my own apartment. A couple of years ago, someone actually broke into the parking garage of my apartment building. I just happened to be there.
With two cop cars out front.
With two cop cars out front. Mine and a sheriff's deputy.
How smart are they?
But this gentleman actually broke into the parking garage.
Situational awareness.
I am there in my apartment with a weapon on, my off-duty gun, just by chance. So I'm able to go downstairs, and I'm able to, number one, scare this guy out of the parking garage, two, give chase and catch him, and then have to walk him about a half mile over to the jail, okay, at gunpoint. But the point is that yeah, there are going to be times when you can successfully defend your home by being armed in that manner.
For me, it was more a matter of I found a way to keep my firearms secure for my small children 24 hours a day. It's either on my hip, under my conscious control.
How old are the kids?
Well, right now they're teenagers and young adults. At the time, they were toddlers and preschoolers. And I looked around and I said, you know,
probably safer to keep it on you than it is to leave it in the drawer, right? Yeah, that's a good point.
Who knows what the little darlings are up to in the next room?
Yeah. No, hey, that's a good point.
I know what they're up to when they're in the same room with me. You know, especially when, you know, my personal body. I know.
Shooters, we're back, and we've touched upon a point here that I think is very important. You're the mother and father. You have children in the home. What are you going to do with your gun? Go.
Well, I really like Kathy's suggestion, you know, of the open carry at home, keeping it on your person.
Well, I'm not open carrying at home. I'm concealed carrying at home. I stay in the same status inside the house that I am outside the house. When I get dressed in the morning, you know, it's not like I'm open carrying. I carry concealed. And one of the reasons is my kids' friends come over, or even when the kids were little, I didn't want them poking and prodding and finding things.
Sure.
I mean, that's...
I like the quick access safe myself. You know, and I always say this, is if you picture yourself, you know, running around the corner, you know, combat rolling over your bed, diving to the gun, coming up, shooting, like, you know, you're in some kind of action movie, that's not a shooting situation. If that guy's on top of you and it's a fighting situation, it's a fighting situation. Knife, club, big guy, whatever. Don't dive to the gun and think you're going to come up. If you don't have the time to hit 3 buttons, the safe opens, you come up, you make sure it's ready, and then you get ready to use the gun. If you don't have that much time, you're probably not in a gun situation.
And
you're in a fight
that takes
situation.
practice.
That's different.
That takes practice. See, that's what I also want to say. And I know if there's children in the house, and I know a lot of viewers have children in the house and they have guns. And it's got to be a constant worry as to where that gun is and where that child is in relationship to that gun. So if I take a gun and I lock it up, well, heck, I might as well have a boat anchor. What good is it to me? So,
But we go back to what we were talking about before about being prepared. That's why we have the good locks. That's why you have the dog or the alarm system.
Yeah,
Rob had some points about the alarm. What?
I think it also goes along with the idea, like Rob said, it's something that you practice.
Right.
I think too many people just feel like if they go out to the range and they fire 20 to 50 rounds at a paper target while they're standing still, that's good enough. That's enough practice, that's enough training. They need to go beyond that.
Absolutely.
And people think that is training, and that's not. But more than that.
In fact, the training should be at home and in different situations where you are going to spend your time. Rob.
I think we're there. I mean, we've kind of come down to it, that you need to have a plan. You need to have a strengthened perimeter. You need to know when something's different at your house, if that's because of a motion sensor, if that's because of a tremor alarm, a vibration alarm on a breaking window, if it's because your dog starts barking. And when things are different, when there's an intruder, when something happens, there should be a plan for the family, and you shouldn't try to be the hero.
Okay, I can go with that. As a matter of fact, I just received another email from someone who wanted me to do a reenactment. And this reenactment took place. His wife had been downtown wearing jewelry. The bad guys follow him home. They wait outside, and the man takes his dog out the front door because the dog needed to go out, right? And as soon as they open the door, bad guys come in. So, I mean, there's nothing we can do that's going to guarantee you 100%, okay? But there are things you can do at least to put things in your favor, and I think we've covered some of those.
I think sometimes people say, well, you shouldn't have a gun. I'm not going to trust a gun because it doesn't cover 100% of the circumstances. This makes as much sense to me as going to the doctor and saying, I'm not going to take that heart medicine because it doesn't cure cancer and athlete's foot and take care of my dandruff at the same time. I mean, just because this medicine is very, very good for this area, for this specific set of circumstances, doesn't mean that it's going to cover the full spectrum.
Okay. Listen, we're out of time. I want to thank the panel members, though. I think we've had some good discussion here today. I hope that we have given you, the viewers, some information, at least something to think about in the future. I want to hear your comments about some of the things that we've discussed today. Email me, and certainly if there is anything that goes on in your town or your community that you would like to have us reenact, send it to me. We can do that. Maybe. See you next week. Be safe, be trained, and be alert.